What is up, guys? Murdius back again with a very special video for you guys on Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. This video is really going to lead the charge in focusing my time, energy, and entire YouTube channel to Pantheon once again, and I just want to say before I start that no matter how you found this video or channel, thank you so much. And I really do hope you enjoy this video, and with that out of the way, Pantheon Rise of the Fallen in retrospect, how far we've actually come. Pantheon Rise of the Fallen is no ordinary game. It's an MMORPG that's created for one audience, the traditional MMORPG player base that populated one of Brad McQuaid's historical relics, EverQuest. If we truly looked at exactly where Pantheon came from, we would trace its lineage back to March 16th, 1999, where gamers were first immersed into the truly adventurous and wonderful world of EverQuest Online, the second commercially successful MMORPG to come out at the time, only first beat by Ultima Online. It was here that the world of three-dimensional MMORPGs was created, and the traditional MMORPG gamer was not only born, but thrived. Despite its lead designer and director Brad McQuaid leaving the project in 2002, EverQuest yet continued to expand from multiple expansions to even the release of a second game, EverQuest 2 on November 4th, 2004. Unhappy though that EverQuest 2 had turned away from its roots and favored a more generic design to match that of a currently in development MMORPG, World of Warcraft, EverQuest 2 would never match the player base its predecessor had so easily created and kept for multiple years on end. And it was here, after feeling betrayed and let down from EverQuest 2's overseer, John Smedley at Sony Online Entertainment, its player base looked at Brad McQuaid, who had gone on to his own studio. Brad answered this call with a new MMORPG, Vanguard, Saga of Heroes, from his studio Sigil Games on January 30th, 2007. It wasn't without struggle, however. During development, partnerships with Microsoft, their original publisher, went through. Sigil Games was left to purchase the rights back from Microsoft, and once again, Brad found himself a part of Sony Online Entertainment after their acquisition of Sigil Games on May 5th, 2006. After a poorly received launch, Sigil Games, a staff of nearly 150 workers, disbanded. Sony Online hiring a handful of these developers, including Brad McQuaid, and placing him as creative advisor over Vanguard. But now, with an even smaller team of developers and new directors at the helm, Vanguard was unable to cope with its bugs that plagued the entire game. Vanguard was never truly able to live up to the potential its initial developers had wanted it to be. Moving to September 9th, 2013, Brad McQuaid once again left Sony Online Entertainment, where sometime during this same year, Brad held a private meeting at his house with industry veterans in game development to form what we now know as Visionary Realms. On January 13th, 2014, we got our first glance at Pantheon Rise of the Fallen through their launch of a Kickstarter campaign. Its campaign lasted from January 13th to February 22nd in 2014, where we were given screenshots of the possible world of Terminus, a look at its multiple classes and races, and the game's all-important lore. However, Pantheon did not see success with Kickstarter. With a goal of 800,000, Visionary Realms would only receive 460,000, a little more than half of what was needed. Because of this, not being able to reach their projected goal, Visionary Realms received none of the funds. On February 14th, knowing their Kickstarter would most likely not meet a happy ending, Brad McQuaid announced on Twitter, "If anyone knows an angel investor or any other type of investor who might be interested in investing in VR, please let me know." On February 22nd, Pantheon's Kickstarter was announced unsuccessful, leaving many gaming sites comparing Pantheon to Vanguard as simply a question of what could have been. However, Brad and Visionary Realms wasn't giving up. On the same day, Visionary Realms announced the creation of their own webpage that its fans could pledge directly to Pantheon and the game's continued development under the domain pantheonrotf.com. On April 30th, Brad McQuaid announced that development would continue but at a relaxed pace, most of its initial staff working part-time or during their free time in the news of being unable to find reliable sources of funding, but assuring people that development would continue onward. Despite his continued affirmation that development was still going, things seemed unlikely for fans. On May 4th, things were still on shallow water. Though Brad McQuaid announced he would be accepting more volunteers to work remotely towards development, there was still no official funding in sight, and a finished game seemed very unlikely, though hope at least was kept alive for some fans. In the continuing time, we were given screenshots, videos, and more information of new races such as the Darkmer, accompanied by the slogan of continued development and things that Visionary Realms was moving forward. It wasn't until around September 2015 that a lot started to change, and there was a different momentum created by the team behind Pantheon. It was during this time that they had completely changed their branding from Pantheon ROTF to Pantheon MMO. This included their webpage, YouTube, Facebook, and more. All previous information from blog posts to YouTube videos were erased, and it was clear something was in the works. On September 23rd, 2015, the first blog post was posted on the new PantheonMMO.com explaining the movement Visionary Realms was taking to develop Pantheon the right way. In the blog post, Brad explains how most of the original development team had returned full-time to Pantheon, and that development was in full swing. It was great news for fans, and I'm sure even greater news for the team that put it out. It was here that we witnessed a major turning point for our little MMORPG to be. Even more so when on September 28th, Visionary Realms announced that they had secured official funding to continue development on Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. This might have been possible because on the same day, it was announced that Visionary Realms had completed a major demo. On November 10th, 2015, on a new blog, Brad was happy to tell followers of Pantheon that because of the initial funding it had received months back, that Visionary Realms was able to move many of its once volunteer developers into paid spots at their main headquarters. And they also announced its completion on its player-facing systems, such as an updated website, forum, and more for a better way for fans to interact with Pantheon. But there was much more going on internally for Pantheon, as we found out was always the case. On November 11th, 2015, in an interview with Massively OP, Visionary Realms had projected that with the right funding, launch could be seen in 2017. From this point, a lot of Pantheon's news covered new races we've not heard before, and reimagined classes such as the Cleric that shared its differences from the original classes we had seen during the Kickstarter campaign in 2014. Overall, we've seen a lot of screenshots and blog posts from Pantheon Rise of the Fallen, but I'm not going to cover all of them. The importance here is simply development of Pantheon was in most eyes full steam ahead. The next noteworthy date in our timeline was March 2nd, 2016, when the author of Wolf's Head Online, an MMORPG blog, cited that had been given pleasure of actually playing the game after being personally contacted by Brad McQuaid. In his article, he talks about the world he experienced mainly in Avendir's Pass. Little did we know that we too would get a solid look at Avendir's Pass. Because on March 11th, 2016, subsequently the same day Daybreak Games announced the cancellation of EverQuest Next, Visionary Realms presented us with nearly 2 hours of gameplay via Twitch. This was an exciting moment because despite everything, the constant assurances, the active blogs, and the webpage and even the forum, there was always that seed of doubt. That seed, at least for me, was ultimately destroyed with this livestream. Because of the love and aspiration from their first livestream, Visionary Realms would continue showing the world of Terminus to us through Twitch multiple times throughout the year, also partnering with Carnage, a successful Twitch streamer, as their recorder and promoter. During these live streams, we were granted access into seeing multiple other landscapes such as Wild Ends and more, and a player's look at the Rogue and Shaman classes. It was here that without a doubt, in anyone's mind, Pantheon was going to be released, and we fans wanted it that very day. After coming on of what seemed like a resurrection year, Visionary Realms announced on April 26, 2017, it had completed its A-Series funding, meaning the team could expand and private testing could begin on Pantheon. On April 27, 2017, Visionary Realms announced another beautiful livestream, this time showcasing the Monk class in all its glory, and again on May 2nd, which brings us close to where we see ourselves today. With newsletters every month detailing the now full team of Visionary Realm developers, have completed or started on. In other words, Pantheon Rise of the Fallen has come a long way from its original conception in 2013, seeing a humble beginning that quickly plummeted and yet still survived through the everyday chaos of business, to bring us to the point where we are today. Pantheon Rise of the Fallen is still in development, and although we won't see the predicted 2017 launch date, every good thing in life is worth waiting for. I've been Meridius, and I'll see you next time.